Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we're talking about poor sales numbers for iOS AAA games, and nobody wants to pay $60 for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
Well, if you're new around here, welcome to the Gaming Gig podcast. This is a viewer-driven podcast. We're basically run by you guys.
Y'all drive us around.
We basically use your comments as jumping off points to kind of spur on our discussions. If you'd like to have your comment read on the podcast, just check out the polls that we post on the main Gaming Gig channel, comment on those, and we might just read them out and react to them here on the podcast.
That's right, we might. I do want to take an issue with something you just said, because you said we use the comments of jumping off points, and like, I don't want to speak for you, but like, I'm not much of a jumper these days. Like,
Stepping off points, maybe.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, first topic today, we're going to be talking about, turns out, Daniel, no one wants to play AAA games on their iPhone.
No, they don't. Nobody wants to play like Assassin's Creed Mirage with touch controls, you know.
Turns out the thing that no one was asking for, the reason they weren't asking for it is not because they just didn't know they wanted it.
Right.
It's just they knew they didn't want it.
Which is the case sometimes. And with Apple specifically, they have a history, if you look through their history, of like maybe giving us things we didn't know we wanted.
Yeah.
Like the iPhone, right? But this ain't that.
No.
Tim Apple.
Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar of this, basically what has happened is very recently, within the last year, we've gotten a number of big AAA games come to the iPhone, and they're playable on iPhone, which is bizarre. And apparently, Apple is funding these ports to be done to iPhone. It's not just like Capcom or, you know, whoever else is Ubisoft, whoever's putting these out. It's not like they're just really thinking that they have a, you know, they think that there's an untapped market.
No, it's not that.
Apple thinks, hey, you should put your game on our phone.
Well, I mean, gaming on Mac, you know, has never really been much of a thing.
No.
And I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe Apple at some point kind of missed out on some of that. But I don't know. Maybe it's too little too late. And also, they're going about it kind of weird because, like, well, I mean, it's not like it's not playable on new MacBooks.
No.
So maybe they're not. But
It's just,
I just
these are
think it's
also-
very odd.
It is very odd because we're specifically talking about the iPhone versions, the iOS versions of these games, right? Not
Yeah.
not
I
just
guess
the
so.
Mac versions of these games.
I don't think the Mac version's beating the doors off anything either. But
I don't either. But specifically, we're talking about the iOS version of these. So the games that have come out so far have been. This isn't an entirely the list, but the big ones are Resident Evil 4, the remake, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. There may be another game or two that I don't know about, but those are the ones that I definitely know have come to iPhone. And we have the sales numbers on those, or at least estimates on sales numbers. And it turns out not very good. Really low numbers, like exceedingly low numbers.
yeah, they're quite low. Now they are estimates, and there's two. We can put this. I don't know if you want to put this on screen or not. I don't want to speak for post here, but there's two different like. I don't know what you want to call this. Is this like there's a thing called App Figures and a thing called App Magic, and they're estimating sales numbers.
I think it's
anyway.
like different sources of how they
different
estimate.
sources, exactly. So RE4, according to App Figures, has only sold like 7,000 units. App Magic says about 15,000. RE Village is about 5,750. According to App Figures, it's 34,000 according to App Magic. Assassin's Creed Mirage is a whopping 3,000 according to App Figures, and 5,750 according to App Magic. Death Stranding, which seems to be the bigger seller, I guess, is 10,600 according to App Figures, and 23,000 according to App Magic.
Yeah. So these, I mean, we're talking nothing has even come close to cracking 50,000, which would be an utter, if you know, obviously this isn't the only place these games are sold, but if it was, it would be considered an extreme flop for or just any console. Like say you looked at like a game like Resident Evil 4, and let's say Resident Evil 4 sold only 7,000 units on Xbox. We'd be like, well, Xbox is dead, y'all. No one's playing games on Xbox anymore.
Right. But these also aren't new. So it's like these games, like they've kind of already had their life. They're like big surge,
Kind of. I think it's a little telling that the oldest game on that list that was one that sold the best.
Well, that is true. That is telling and odd. I think that's odd too, because like RE4 is the one that I would think would, and it's also not. It's in second place, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I guess
Like
it's
Death
something
Stranding.
about these iPhone people. They love walking simulators. I don't know.
Honestly, it may be the game that is the best to play on iPhone because it is one of the least actiony of all those games. It's the one
Yeah.
that you probably could like play on a smaller screen. It may be okay of an experience. I don't know. Here's the thing. You know what? Let's read some things because I have some things to say and I'm sure it's going to come in on the comments. So let's start things off. We got a comment from Celeria Rose.
Actually, not trying to take the wind out of your sails here, but we should probably do the poll first.
Oh, we should absolutely do the
So
poll first.
we don't know anybody who's played these damn games on their phone.
Right.
But we wondered if y'all did. So we asked, have you purchased and played any of these iOS ports of AAA games? And at 4%, you said yes. And at 96%, you said no.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if even that 4%, some of those people may have like played the demo and put yes and not, read the question very well.
Or they misclicked.
Yeah. Maybe some misclicks on this.
Language barriers could have played a role like this. There's a lot of explanations for why we got a whopping 4%.
I think that even 4% is probably more than actually have bought one of these AAA games and played it on their iPhone.
Probably.
And the thing is, this is where I'm getting into. This is where we should read the comments because I have some thoughts, and I'm sure the comments are going to say the same thing I'm thinking. Okay, moving on to Slurry Rose. The only iOS ports of games I've played are Dragon Quest 1 through 6, and that's mostly just due to the availability. Usually, if a game is available on a system I own that isn't iOS, I prefer that. Though I've occasionally considered the Divinity Original Sin 2 port for the ease of playing it on my tablet, though never really jumped on that one over just playing the version I already own.
Yeah, and then I included Landon Stallings' response here just because I thought it was interesting. So he said, same, it's exactly how I was introduced to Dragon Quest back in 2020. And the reason I thought that was interesting is because that's about the only version of playing any sort of AAA or first party game on iOS I can think of is like maybe you're playing an old game like a Dragon Quest or maybe Divinity Original Sin 2 or Chrono Trigger. Our friend Dan plays, he has the iOS port of Chrono Trigger. That might be a reason to play a game on your phone. It's another way that it's being exposed to you. You've always got your phone with you. And the older games are probably easier to play with the touchscreen.
Right. I think older games make a lot more sense because it feels more like you're having, more like you have a handheld emulator as opposed to a console.
Right.
And those are very different experiences. They're good for different types of games. And we all know that handheld emulators are really great for playing some older games. So I could see a game like, what were we talking about here?
Dragon Quest, Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah. Like Dragon Quest, I could see that being a game that would be great to play on your phone because one, you can play it in small bursts. It's probably, again, they're longer games. They're RPGs, so you could play them in small bits over a month or two, just gradually knocks them out.
Yeah. And, RPGs in general, I think are good for a touchscreen because they're not time sensitive and action.
Especially turn-based RPGs, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but none of these new games we're talking about, none of those really make sense to be played on an iPhone.
They really don't.
No.
They really don't. You could have brought something like, I don't know. I think Persona might have been a neat choice. Because that's a turn-based RPG that people love. Dragon Quest 11. Maybe you try to bring something like that. Maybe you look at Square and you're like, can we use 3 or 4 of your 1,000 HD 2D remakes?
Right, something like that.
I don't know, but this just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. We got another comment from Bobbity. Bobbity says, only thing I'm playing on my phone is Delta and PPSSPP. Both work great and give me that handheld itch some of these bigger, beefy handhelds since the Switch don't give me. There you go. So we just recently got the ability to play these emulators natively on iPhone without workarounds. You can get it from the App Store.
Yep. And I didn't know PPSSPP was on there.
I didn't either. I mean, I haven't really paid. I know, like when we first got the announcement, it was always like, who's going to make it first,
Yeah.
and we established.
It was always like, who's going to make it first, and when do we get RetroArch? That was the question.
Yeah.
And now we have RetroArch, but I didn't know that PPSSPP is on there. That's a good PSP emulator, and that's the one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I mean, like I kind of stopped paying attention to it after like I downloaded Delta. I still haven't tried it because I just don't know that I am in the right market to be playing emulated games on my phone. One, I already feel like I spend way too much time on my phone anyway. I know it's just a different thing, but just being on my phone, it's gonna be really hard for me to focus and not want to swipe off and go check this or check that. You know what I mean? Whereas if I have a device that doesn't do that in my hand, I'm gonna be much less tempted to do that.
definitely, I definitely prefer having like a dedicated gaming thing.
Yes.
You know, like yesterday we were doing a gig, and I had my little emulator in my pocket, and every now and then I'd play a little Super Mario Bros. 2, like on a set break and whatnot. I could have totally played that on my phone, but like that's not fun. That's not as fun to me. You know, it also doesn't give me any of the nostalgia itch
No.
that like a handheld device does.
No, I mean, like, I absolutely agree with you, but there's just something about like being on my phone overall that makes me just kind of not want to do it. It's like it's on my phone. I don't want to be playing games on my phone, just in general. And maybe we, hopefully we're getting a wave of that. It's not just me. Hopefully, like the world, kind of like how people gradually got off of like cigarettes, thinking they were cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we're kind of moving towards that with our phones as well. I'm hoping. I know for sure I am. That's been a recent thing for me.
So you want there to be like a societal shift towards like screw phones?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I mean, just like, yeah, basically, not screw
do you
phones.
think you're actually seeing that, or do you just hope that happens?
I hope. I'm more hoping, but I'm not the only one. But
Oh, you're definitely not the only. I think everybody knows like spending too much time on your phone is unproductive at a minimum, right?
unproductive, yes.
At a minimum, and unhealthy, at worst.
Yeah, or majorly unhealthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know that we're heading that way.
Yeah. So there's just, but still, I think those negative connotations of playing on my phone makes it just a little less interesting to me.
I agree with you. I'd rather have something dedicated.
100%. 100%.
All right, we got another comment here from Legacy Squid. This is a very important squid. The squid has a legacy. Anyway, Legacy said, yes, I've played RE Village on iPhone 15 Pro Max for a little bit. It's actually pretty good and runs pretty solid, but I have no use playing these games on iPhone since I have a Steam Deck. It's a cool option for people who don't have any sort of gaming device.
Yeah. And I think there's two big things on this. I want to touch on the last thing first, which is it's an option for people who have no other gaming device. And I think that is probably the only people who might benefit from this.
Yes, but it is going to be such a small market. Because
such a small market.
What kind of person has no gaming device, but then it wants to play one of these very few select titles bad enough to play it on their phone? Like,
Almost
what
nobody.
person has no way to play a video game, but then all of a sudden is like, holy shit, I want to play Resident Evil Village.
Right.
Like in line at the grocery store.
I would say that the Venn diagram of people who want to play Resident Evil Village and people who do not have a way of playing Resident Village, they don't overlap.
They almost
much at
don't.
all.
They're basically two circles.
Yeah.
They are two separate circles.
I can't imagine anyone being like just willing to pay the price that it costs to buy these games on an iPhone to play them, but is not willing to buy some sort of console. Whether that, you can play Resident Evil Village cloud version on the Switch. You can play it on an Xbox Series S for just like, sometimes those things are on sale for under $200. You know what I mean? Like,
You can play a cloud version on your phone.
right.
Like, you don't have to have the native version at all, but
Yeah, it's just wild, man.
it's so weird.
I just don't know. Yeah, I just think that, and that's why we have numbers like it's only sold a couple thousand units. Of course, it's only sold a couple thousand. There's the amount of people who are willing to do this is such a small number. No one, because the thing is, it's not like, okay, let's say I bought Resident Evil Village on the PlayStation 5. Okay.
Let's say
If it came
even
with,
though you didn't, you bought it on the Series X.
did I? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know where I bought it.
I was just trying to.
Oh, you were just saying, you were being hypothetical. Yeah. Let's just say I buy the game though on console, and then if it came with like a code to, oh, you also own a version of it on iPhone. You know what? Then I might try it.
Yeah.
But there's
Just
no way
for science, though.
I'm going to buy it on console and then also buy it on iPhone.
Yeah, no way.
And there is sure as hell no way I'm just going to buy it on iPhone.
No.
Like, no way.
Now, let me propose, put on your tinfoil hat.
Okay.
I want to propose a future to you.
Okay.
Okay. You guys, some of y'all know I'm a big fan of a small kind of franchise called Star Wars. And in Star Wars, everybody's got a droid, right? Not an android, a droid. And these droids do like everything. You know, you can look at your droid and be like, do this, and all of a sudden it can like repair a circuit board. Or you can be like, translate this, and it translates languages, right? It does everything. It's a do everything device. In the future, what if your phone is the do everything device? For some reason, nobody else is making consoles. We're just all putting shit on our phones. And it's a do everything, like play everything. Like this is what you do everything on. You know, you can wirelessly cast it to any screen you're around. You can use a controller, but it's your phone. That's about the only damn way you get my money on this.
Yeah.
Is what I was getting at.
Yeah, like
you have to take away all my other options.
Yes, you'd have to take them away. And then I think even at that point, I think people would still probably prefer to have, it's kind of like,
but we don't have those other things in this hypothetical
in the
future.
hypothetical,
They don't
right?
exist.
I know. I see what you're saying. But it is really interesting, like that. We're kind of talking about that. Like we talked about having the dedicated handheld over playing it on iPhone. You know, we've seen this happen time and time again. The more like all-in-one things become, the less interesting it is to have those things.
Yeah.
Like that's why, you know, we saw the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, like those devices were the first ones that started to pitch themselves as the all-in-one entertainment devices, right?
Well, the PS2 could play DVDs, bro.
True. But you know, it wasn't an all-in-one. It didn't have all your streaming. It didn't have your YouTube. It didn't have like your one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And then we saw Xbox with the Xbox One go really hard into that.
Yeah.
And it has not worked for them. And I think that is what, you know, a phone has basically become. It's your all-in-one device. It can do everything that you want it to do. Now it can even play AAA games.
Yeah.
It's cool that it's powerful enough to do it, but we're going to see a pushback against that. People aren't that interested in that anymore. They want these curated, specific devices that do the one thing, you know? That's like yesterday we were at a gig. We saw a group of youngins. They were probably college age, a whole bunch of them. I noticed that
Street youths.
they were not taking pictures with their phones. Did you notice they had disposable cameras? They were taking pictures with disposable cameras.
No, I did not notice that. I thought you were going to talk about the group of guys we saw playing hacky sack.
Oh, they were playing hacky sack.
Because that's also a much healthier alternative.
They were taking pictures with old-fashioned disposable cameras. And I'm like, that is the kind of stuff that we're seeing now that we're in the world of your phone does everything.
Yeah.
It's not interesting anymore. You can get much better pictures with your phone than you can with an old disposable camera.
Definitely.
But you lose the novelty. You lose the cool factor. And I think that
It's like why vinyls are,
exactly,
you know, kind of
100%.
having a little bit of a resurgence, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, Grandpa.
It just feels different, and it feels like you own it. Even if you pay $60 for a game on iPhone, it's not going to feel like you own that game.
Right.
It just will not.
You know, I experienced something kind of like what you just described at school before we got out for the summer. Like on the last day, one of these other teachers that I work with came up to me and was like, Daniel, let's take a picture. And I was like, shit, I see you. I teach next door to you. Like, why do you need a picture? You know, like, I don't want to take a picture. Yeah. I was like immediately like a contrarian about it. I was trying to clean my room out. Like, leave me alone, you know? And then she was like, no, I brought a Polaroid.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got a Polaroid camera? Let's take a picture.
So cool,
you know,
right?
it like changed. It did. It made it a cooler thing to do. It made it, because you get it, like Polaroids are just cool, but
yeah.
Disposable cameras, I don't even know where you get one of those developed these days. Can you still go to like Walgreens and?
Yeah, you can. Yep,
okay,
you can. And so, heck, I'm just saying, like, I do think that it's going to be more and more prevalent that we're going to see people continue to go back to devices that only have one purpose, and it's to do the thing that they do, even if it's not the best, even if it's not the most convenient.
Yeah.
It just is cooler.
Well, that makes that's that fills me with a little bit of hope, because all those things, like, we have nostalgia for all those things. It's not just cameras. I can't even think of them, but like there are plenty of things that the phone has phased out.
And these were people significant, like yesterday with the camera thing, they were much younger than us. And they didn't even probably grow up with disposable cameras, at least, maybe in their early childhood.
Right.
But even,
They were using archaic technology they'd never even seen.
right. It was, really.
It would be like us chiseling a self-portrait out of granite.
No, I don't think it would be that bad. But it might be like us using, like, even Polaroids were out of fashion by the time we were kids. We were kids,
Yeah.
We had a Polaroid camera when I was a little kid. We never used it. I remember thinking that thing was ancient.
My dad had a Polaroid,
Yeah.
and I remember, like, I did not think there was anything cool about it.
No. Right. Okay. Well, we got one more comment here. This one's from Tim Despair Bear,
Despair Bear.
who said, "No, I tried the demos, but I'm not going to sit there on my phone and play a AAA game."
Yeah,
Yep.
that about sums it up, Despair Bear. Also, your profile picture is badass. I love it. I love the little two-faced bear. Clearly, that's the Despair Bear.
That's the Despair Bear. That's Tim Despair Bear.
I love that.
That is great. All right, Daniel. Well, we have one more topic. You about to ready to move into that, or?
Well, I would be ready, but I want to tell you first about our Twitch. So, guys, we stream video games on Twitch every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and some Fridays and Saturdays. We do quite a bit of variety. We do Sea of Thieves. We do some Just Chattings. We play a game called Guess the Game every Sunday. It's kind of a big deal on Twitch, I'm just saying. And we're even going to play Chain Together this week, which I'm so excited about. So if you want to come hang out with us over there, please do so. We love to hang out with you in the chat.
Yeah, and another thing you can do is join our Discord server. So there's an invite link wherever you are watching this podcast. So check out the invite link. Come join our Discord server. It's a good place to find out when we go live on Twitch, but also just to hang out and talk about games with a group of like-minded gamers who just talk games all day.
That's right.
It's a cool place to hang out.
Very cool. All right, so guys, I don't know if you've heard about this little game called Donkey Kong, but there's a new one called Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. It's coming out for the Nintendo Switch, and they announced the price at $60.
$60, yeah. Which is made a lot
Expected.
of people upset. It's expected, though, yes.
Yeah, it's expected.
So Donkey Kong Country Returns was originally released on the Wii back in, I want to say, 2010?
Whee!
Somewhere around there. And it may have been a little later than 2010, but it was around that time. And when it released on the Wii, it released at $50 because that was the price that Wii games were. $50. Eventually, that game got put into the Nintendo Selects line of games. It got dropped down to $20 by Nintendo. Okay? Then they remade the game for the 3DS. They sold it for, I want to say, $40. And then that game, even the 3DS version, eventually became a Nintendo Select, which was their $20 line. So never has the game ever cost more than $50. Now it's priced at $60. It has made a lot of people upset because it seems like the game has gotten more expensive for no reason.
Yeah, but that's not true, because if you inflate for adjustment, you'll realize that the original Wii version in today's money would have cost just a hair over $70.
I love that you said inflate for adjustment. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Right?
No.
If you inflate for adjustment.
No, I didn't do that on purpose. That was not a premeditated joke that I recited in my head a couple times to make sure I would say it right.
Did you really?
No, I just said that wasn't the case.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you did, it was a good one.
Thanks.
It was a good one.
Thank
It definitely paid off.
I'm glad we've spent so much time highlighting it. Because that takes it from like a little, clever thing that maybe somebody just kind of chuckles at and we move on from. It takes it. Now we're entering like beating a dead horse territory, and which is honestly where I'm comfortable.
Me too. Me too. That's exactly where I want to be.
But it's true.
But it's true, yeah. Like technically, if with inflation, that original game, even at $50, would cost more than $50 now. It would be actually over $70. You're exactly right.
Yeah. So I don't really get inflation, but I'm starting to realize the gist of it, which is that okay, I don't get it. But like, cool.
Look, the truth of the matter is that Nintendo
Is greedy.
is not that they're greedy. It's not, I mean, yes, they're greedy. They obviously, they're a company. They want as much money as they think you're willing to pay.
Yes.
And they have already figured out that $60 for a remastered Wii game is what people are willing to pay. This is I think the third single release of a remastered Wii game that we've got. And they were all priced at $60. I think the first one was Skyward Sword, $60. Kirby's Return to Dreamland, $60. And now again, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD will be $60.
I don't think, and I know you're about to say this, but I don't really see that as like apples to apples. Because those games all had some things that maybe the original version didn't.
True.
I don't know.
Skyward Sword not as much, but at least it had a new play style. You could play it on the controller.
Which is huge because that's what people hated about the game.
Right.
So
exactly.
like that counts. I
And
think.
Kirby's Return to Dreamland was like completely new assets.
Right. That was not just an HD, reskin and a port. That was bigger.
And where this
That was more akin to like Metroid Prime Remaster,
yeah, maybe more so. Right. So this is crazy because this one does feel like it has the least done to it out of all of them. Feels like there's no reason for this to be $60 except that Nintendo just knows people will pay it because we're in the Switch has been so successful, and the software on the Nintendo Switch has been so successful that they just know that people are willing to pay $60 for games.
And they are, and they will. They will move some units with this.
Oh yeah, totally.
So we were wondering about you guys. Are they going to move units with y'all, and what do y'all think about the price? So we asked, do you think $60 is a fair price for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD? At 4%, again, people said yes, is an appropriate price. At 18%, people said no, but I still plan on buying it. And at 78%, people said no, and I do not plan on buying it. Keep your damn bananas.
So where do you fall on that, Daniel? Like, what do you think about the price personally?
I think the price is too much. And the reason I think it's too much is because of the history of the game.
Right.
The price history of the game it just screams this is too much money to me. I am like an in-betweener, man. I'm clearly in a no, but I don't know if I'm going to buy it anyway just because I wanted a Donkey Kong game on the Switch so bad.
Right.
And then but we still don't really have one because we already had Tropical Freeze. But I love Tropical Freeze.
Right.
And I've never played this, and people say it's good.
People say it's very good.
So I
actually went back this week and watched the original IGN review of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. It seemed like it was a good game.
Yeah.
They were very happy with it.
So I don't know if I'll buy it immediately or not. But I'm somewhere in either the it's too much, but I'll buy it, or the no, screw you.
Yeah, because there are other ways to play it. I think that all their games, all these Wii games, Skyward Sword, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, this one, I think they're all too expensive. I don't think they're worth $60. That being said, I did buy both Skyward Sword and I bought Kirby's Return to Dreamland at $60. This is the one that I think I'm not going to buy, just because I already own the game. And see,
you already have the game.
I didn't own those other two games, and so although I thought they were too expensive, I still bought.
Which version of the game do you have?
I have the 3DS version.
Oh. Well, I'm going to just borrow that from you then and play that on my 2DS.
You know what I mean? It's like I already own the game. So it's I don't know. I don't even though I own it, I have not played it. But I still, because I own it, I'm like, I don't want another copy of this game because this has the 3D Returns 3D, HD. The one that's coming out does include the extra levels that were added in the 3DS version. But I even have that.
Right. Thanks for including the 3DS content, Nintendo.
So it does have...
I wasn't expecting you to do that.
Look, let's read some read some comments and see what people have to say about this poll. Jeez, I cannot talk today.
Well, they're not going to say
it.
They're not going to say it if they don't think it, man.
It's true.
You weren't wrong.
It's true. It's true.
Don't beat yourself up. You want me to read this?
Yeah, hit us with it.
Okay, you seem like you were struggling.
I am. I need a mental break.
Okay. Sorrow Dinas said, I have already bought this game twice, and don't get me wrong, I have my share of triple dipping on some of my favorite games. But this game is not that, and we live in a world where Tropical Freeze exists. Maybe if you really love that and never played the predecessor or are a super DK fan. Otherwise, I don't see this making numbers, but who knows. And that's kind of where I land. Like, I do love Tropical Freeze. I have never played this. I don't know if I'm a super DK fan, but I'm definitely a DK fan.
Mm-hmm. You've played the older Donkey Kong Country games and tend to like those.
I do.
Maybe not 3, but...
Not 3. 3's kind of shitty. 3... shitty.
Yeah, but I mean, the
2
first
is
two...
like a freaking all-time classic.
Yeah, I recently went back and played 1, and it did not hold up the way I liked it. When I was a kid, I thought that game was amazing, but now I didn't like it near as much as I did back in the day.
You need to play 2.
I need to play 2. I played a little bit of 2 back in the day, but that's not the one that I'm super nostalgic for.
2 definitely raises the bar.
I'm going to go back and play it again. Yeah, let's continue on here. We got a comment from Crinkly Onion who says, I already bought the game twice. I would buy it, but I can just play it on my Wii U or 3DS.
My Weedy.
I said Weedy. I did say Weedy.
My Weedy, yes.
And that's where I'm at. It's like I already own it on 3DS. If I really wanted to play it, I could have already played it by now.
Yeah.
It's just been sitting in my backlog. I plan on playing it. I just don't think I'm going to pay an additional $60 just for the privilege of playing it on Switch.
Right. That's kind of... And that's all that is at that point. It's just, you know, do you want all your stuff on one thing, like, I guess?
Mm-hmm. I like the 3DS. I like it a lot.
Yeah, 3DS is cool.
So it's like I'm always looking for an excuse to play the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I would rather play it on 3DS just because I don't have any reasons to pull out the 3DS these days, and I want a reason to pull it out.
Well, there you go. There's your reason.
Yeah.
Also, Fire Emblem Awakening is really good, and
it's also on 3DS.
Yes, it's really good.
It's not on Switch.
No, it's not. You don't even have to pay $60 to play it on Switch. I don't know. Moving on. Comment from Larry House. Larry, longtime friend of the podcast, said, most things to land on Nintendo are way overpriced. And in my opinion, Nintendo games costing as much as genuine AAA titles is what really holds Nintendo back. Yeah, sure, I buy a few titles here and there, but I'd buy a lot more if they were better priced or even went on sale sometimes, which Nintendo games don't, sadly.
Larry, I agree that they are expensive.
I put this here to trigger gameplay.
Yeah. I'm not triggered by this. I really don't. I think that Nintendo games used to. Remember the Nintendo Selects? We've talked about those. Mm-hmm. Those are $20 games. I saw a lot of people asking on, I made a short about this whole topic. And there were tons of comments being like, where did Nintendo Selects go? Mm-hmm. Nintendo Selects went away because Nintendo is selling a lot more software than they did back on even on the Wii. Like the Wii was a fantastic selling console. Mm-hmm. The software did not sell like gangbusters because people on the Wii would buy a Wii, they would Wii Sports for free with it. They might go buy like Mario Kart, maybe another game or two, mm-hmm. and they would just play those games.
And they were good.
They were good games. The software sales were not phenomenal on Wii. They were okay. The Wii U software sales were terrible. They had to have Nintendo Selects because they needed to push software. They do not need Nintendo Selects anymore because they don't need to push. They've already sold like over 1 billion units of software.
That's a lot of zeros.
So they don't need it. So the thing is like when you say the reason I'm mildly triggered by this, not really. It's just the thing saying like their prices are too inexpensive and that's what's holding Nintendo back. Mm-hmm. No, it's not that's not what's holding Nintendo back. There is nothing holding Nintendo back right now. They are the ones who have the best selling console right now. They probably have the best selling software sales. They're making boatloads of money.
Yeah, but they are pricing their games, comparatively to genuine AAA games. Which
yeah, we're not even going to go into that. Okay,
you don't have a problem with that?
No, I do.
You think they honestly deserve to be priced with genuine AAA games?
Okay, yeah. So this is a whole thing. Yeah, you're just trying to. I was going to avoid this. Okay,
I will not allow that. I didn't get my ass up at the crack of dawn at 8:48 a.m. leisurely make a cup of coffee, hang out with my kitties, and then make this outline in my own time and choose this comment specifically for you to be able to gloss over the part that was going to trigger you. Okay? That's not how I did it. So get triggered.
Look, there are almost no games better than Nintendo games. Look, the games, yes, often they look a little cartoony. Okay?
No game's better, he says. Not even genuine AAA?
Genuine AAA. I can't do this, Daniel. I can't. I'm not going to take the bait. Look,
you're right. You definitely didn't take the bait. Good job.
I'm not going to take the bait.
Good take, buddy.
Ball
one.
Look,
Larry.
Larry. We love you,
Larry.
We love you, Larry. You just know exactly how to push our buttons, don't you?
My buttons are not pushed. I did this for Randy. I love Nintendo, but I just think that's a funny comment.
No, I mean, like, Nintendo games are. This is not the first time people have said that Nintendo games are priced too high, and that they're, obviously they're not graphically as intensive as some say, But what would you rather play? Okay, would you rather play Starfield or would you rather play Tears of the Kingdom? They're both $70 games. Which one would you rather?
That's a hard. I mean, that's honestly that's a no-brainer. Like, of course, I would rather play Tears of the Kingdom. But when you start, and I guess that is a genuine AAA game. So maybe we need to go all the way to. Okay. We need to go all the way to, like, would you rather play Tears of the Kingdom or would you rather play Skull and Bones? Because that is the only genuine quadruple A game, and maybe that would have been a more fair comparison.
Yeah, and at that point, the water's pretty murky.
Because Nintendo, you're right. A lot of their games, like Tears of the Kingdom, obviously that's an all-time great, and it can hang with a genuine triple A game, but it can't touch quadruple A.
No, you're right.
Oh, geez. I tried to see how many times I could say genuine AAA. That was my goal. Okay.
Larry, but that being said,
thank you so much.
That being said, comment. In reference to this, in terms of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, okay, I do think that in its day, in 2010 or whenever this game came out,
it is 2010.
Okay, AAA game. I think a new Donkey Kong game. Yes, it's a platformer. I count platformers. I think platformers can be AAA games. It's from Nintendo, okay? Okay. But yes, it is 14 years old. So I do think that does, obviously the budget for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is nowhere close to some of the big games coming out, even from Nintendo.
Right.
It's like doesn't even begin to get close to those budgets.
Donkey Kong Country Returns came out in North America on November the 21st, 2010.
Okay.
Slightly less than a year later, we would get Skyrim, a genuine AAA release. Okay. And you're telling me this holds up to that?
I don't know. I haven't played this game yet.
Okay,
I have played Skyrim though.
We got another 11/11/11 is when Skyrim came out. That's how you remember that. I was there, midnight release, GameStop. It was great.
You know who else was there? Princess. You know what? I feel like I cannot read this username. I'm sorry to read it, and I think it may. I'm not exactly sure that it. I don't feel comfortable reading it.
What's not comfortable? What are you talking about?
You read it. You read it.
But it's your comment. I read Larry's.
Oh, Princess. Princess says, hell no. If it was a remaster and not just HD, then I get it. But since it's an HD port of the 3D version, what's the point? You can just play the classic Donkey Kong games for $40 less on NSO and still have a good time, then pay $60 for one game that you can emulate on Dolphin or Citra emulator.
Yeah. And then Princess Pony Pona, I don't understand your problem, went on to say, if it was Smash for Wii U, then I'd 100% get it.
Ooh, that's interesting. I haven't thought about Smash for Wii U getting a port to, like we've had so many Wii U games get ported to Switch. Mm-hmm. I've never even thought that Smash for Wii U would be a candidate because in my mind, Ultimate replaced that game and then buried it in the dirt. You know what I mean? Like what is the benefit of playing Smash for Wii U when Smash Ultimate exists?
Right. So, yeah, all I have to say about that is like Smash 4, come on.
What do you mean?
Well, nobody. Come on.
Just
I was just saying, who wants that?
who wants it, right?
Like, I'm glad that you like. Obviously, you're a fan of Smash 4. I thought Smash 4 righted some of the wrongs of Brawl,
Yeah, it did.
but I thought it didn't, maybe go enough. And if I go back and play Smash 4,
I remember you being quite fond of Smash 4.
I was
playing it quite a bit.
I'm quite fond of any current Smash game. You cannot ever. You can. The only time you can go back in time and find me not that fond of the current one is Brawl.
And I remember you playing that a good bit.
I did.
Yeah.
I played it plenty to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Smash 4 was better. I liked it at the time. I went back and played Smash 4. It's been a few years ago, honestly, at this point. I was at Drayton's house. Me and Frankie were over there. And he had Smash 4 hooked up to a big-ass projector. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'll just run the table and whoop all these guys' asses, And I did that. But I didn't have any fun. I didn't have any fun doing it. The physics are just not the same as Ultimate, and I'm used to Ultimate. That's all it is. So I thought that was interesting. You brought up Smash for Wii U. I'm glad you like it.
You know what? Instead of getting Smash for Wii U, let's just port an HD version of Smash 3DS. Then $60.
It's the same game with a few different stages,
Different
and outlines
art
on the
style.
characters.
Different art style.
Yeah,
Outlines on the characters.
yeah, it had outlines on the characters. That was a good addition.
Yeah, I
Being on
think,
that
well,
little screen.
one, it's being such a small screen, it probably did make a big difference.
It did.
I
actually played
owned that
a
game
lot.
and played it. I played it a little bit just to see what it was like. And,
There were times when I would be at a friend's house.
there are different modes. There are unique modes, like non-main modes. There are some different side modes in 3DS than there are in Wii U. And there are different levels.
There are different stages. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some different stages. I don't know about the different modes. I don't remember.
I think there is, yeah. I think that there might be. Was there any sort of like single player mode? They might have different single player modes.
You mean? Well, yeah. There's always classic mode. I don't know if it had like a subspace emissary kind of thing. I don't really think Smash 4 had that. I think that's something they really wanted back in Ultimate.
Yeah, wanted
And
back.
then
We got the spirits thing, the
something of
World
light.
of Light.
World of Light. Yeah.
World of Light.
Which I never played.
I played.
I have
all,
well over 1,000 hours on Smash Ultimate. Never played World of Light.
I played World of Light all the way through. Very fun. I loved World of Light.
Yeah.
It was very cool. I don't know how much you would like it unless you just wanted to you're too competitive with
I wouldn't
Smash.
like it.
You're too competitive. You couldn't maybe you could just sit back. It was fun because they tried to emulate all these different, what if this character were to be embodied by this character? What would they do? What properties could we give them to embody that weird video game character? I thought that was super cool.
But that wouldn't make me any better at the game, and that's all I care about.
See, that I know. You can't just be like, oh, this is fun and cool.
I don't remember the last time I had fun playing Smash. It's a job.
It's a job.
I'm just kidding. I freaking love Smash. I'll tell you what I would be interested in the Smash port world is Melee. Give me Melee on, I don't know, if you bring GameCube to NSO one day, do it. And God, oh my God. Whoa, what if they did Melee with online multiplayer?
They would, because they've done it
my
already
God.
with Smash 64.
But we need matchmaking.
Not
we need
just
the
play with
real
your
deal.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that. If they just put it on NSO, I don't think you're going to be able to just have the random matchmaking. It's going to be with friends only.
Then don't put that on NSO. And give me an HD remake.
An HD remake that has it. Charge them $60.
Charge me $75. I would pay $100
Maybe
for a Smash Melee
what
HD.
What if this is it, Daniel? We've had this conversation a million times of what's the next Smash game going to be, because they Ultimate set a bar that seems just stupid to try to outdo it. What if they say, you know what? On the Switch 2, it's launching with Smash, but here's the thing. It's launching with Melee HD or Melee Remake. Same physics. It's just a beautiful version of Melee, and it has online matchmaking, everything, and they just go full competitive, and that's the next Smash.
I have no words. I have
Maybe
no words.
that's the move.
They will never do that.
What if they
Because
do? What if they
hate-
do? What if they
Nintendo hates Melee. They will never do that.
They hate it because they can't cash in on it, but now they're going to be able to.
They could cash in on it. They could license their own tournaments and stuff, but instead they literally try to shut down other ones.
But man, once that they get going and it Melee's back, think about it.
Bruh. I would dust off the GameCube controller.
Yeah.
We'd be back.
Yeah. I could see that going over so well with all the Nintendo community. If they were like, the next Smash game is just going to be Melee, but like brought up to a modern version
They
of
could
Melee.
even expand the roster if they really wanted to, but that to me that's maybe tampering a little too much.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And that's the thing is like, when you say like, what characters do you cut? What characters do you keep? Well, you don't have to worry about it if it's
You
an
just make
existing.
Melee.
It's just make Melee.
Marth's back.
Marth's
back on top.
Yeah.
Roy, like nobody knows who he is. That's how America found out about Fire Emblem was Melee. Like that's so cool to me.
Yeah.
I remember we got Roy and Marth and we were all like, who are these guys? But they have swords and that's cool.
I like the swords.
And then eventually we got a Game Boy Advance game that had a character that looked just like Roy but was named Elliewood. And I was like, this is jacked up. What the hell is going on? Then I beat that game. Spoilers incoming. At the end of the game, this red-headed swordsman has a son named Roy. I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever done in my life.
I created Roy.
I was like, I just felt like I was like uncovering like a mystery, you know, like it. That's how the world worked back then when we didn't like spend all day on the internet. Okay, we didn't talk about any of this comment except the Smash part.
Well, you know what?
Donkey Kong is on NSO, and they're good games.
Yes.
I agree
Moving
with
back to our Donkey Kong conversation, we have one more comment about this. This one's from Kyle Bruce, who says, the game looks like butt. How do you make the cutscenes, which were 60 in the Wii version, 30 in the modern port? It's a game from over 2 generations ago. The laziness of Nintendo since Iwata died should be studied. At that time, they had 2 separate teams developing games for 2 sets of hardware, and they managed to have holiday releases for both platforms every year. Now, both sets of teams are on the same console, and all we get are lazy ports.
Yeah. So this is I've heard people complaining about like Donkey Kong Country Returns HD not having certain visuals, but I didn't really know what they were talking about. I still don't really know. I haven't looked into it, but I've heard that complaint. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time hearing about cutscenes being cut to 30 FPS as opposed to 60. And I don't know if there's anything to that or not. I just thought it was all interesting. I don't know any of this.
Right now, we're working off trailers.
Yeah.
And this game is, as far as I know, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is going to be a 2025 game. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's coming this year. So I don't think we can take anything from the trailers as being the gospel of what it's going to be in the final release. Maybe,
probably not.
Maybe those things that are missing may get added. The cutscenes may go up to 60. They may not. I'm not saying that they definitely are. I'm not trying to just be like, you just trust Nintendo.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Don't do that. But at the same time, like, I don't know. Who knows? We're not really gonna know. This could be like, think like Luigi's Mansion 3. Okay, this was a game that the original trailers, it looked pretty bad. Well, not bad. It didn't look very good, and then every trailer looked better and better and better. So like we're still quite a ways off. So
Right.
Who knows what's going to end up happening?
And we stream pretty much every like presentation or live direct that comes out in games when we can. And so we've watched a lot of them at this point, and we get a lot of trailers that I'll see and be like, that's clearly low frame rate.
Yes.
And then the game comes out and it's not that way.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess we just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, we just have to wait and see. That being said, like the Iwata era of Nintendo wasn't all sunshine and daisies. That's
No love for rainbows, I guess.
well, sunshine and rainbows
And daisies.
I was thinking. See, in my head, I thought sunshine and roses, and I thought roses isn't right. Rose. I was thinking of rainbows, but
rainbows.
roses came to my head, so I changed it to daisies because daisies are very sunny.
Well, that's a pleasant thought.
Yeah, I just changed it to a nice little sunny flower.
Daisies are
Little
very
daisy-
sunny.
Little daisies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we've gotten so many more games than when Nintendo split up their console and handheld. Like, I don't think all we get are lazy ports. I think we do get lazy ports for sure. Don't get me wrong there. It definitely happens. But right alongside this lazy port, we've got a new 2D Zelda game, in the 8th year of the console.
Right.
So, I mean, like,
And you're excited about that game.
super excited about the game.
Do you think it's going to be able to hold up to genuine AAA games?
No.
Yeah.
And it's still going to cost the same. It's really the downfall of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
All right.
dog? Who dog?
Randy, I think I've said all I need to say about Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I wanted
I
a Donkey
agree.
Kong game so bad, and this is what we got, and it has soured me a little. But one way or another, eventually I'll probably play this game. I don't know if it'll be on Switch or not, but
Well, I own it. So it's like,
Right.
do I want to spend $60 on it or do I want to borrow the
I
copy?
want to walk across the driveway.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
Or just ask me to bring it over when we record the podcast, you
True.
know. And then you've got the game. You can play it.
Yeah.
Or, it's on Wii. There are other ways to play Wii games, like a Wii, right?
Right.
Or Wii U.
Yeah.
One of those
Probably
devices.
probably a genuine Nintendo hardware solution to that question. I'd say.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyways, y'all, that brings them. We got one more section left for you. But before we do that, Daniel, tell them about the bonus episode.
We have a bonus episode. We do it every single week. As soon as we cut the main episode, we begin the bonus episode, but it's a little loose. People seem to like it. However, you do need to be a member of the channel in order to watch it. So on today's bonus episode, we're talking about Shigeru Miyamoto and how his role is kind of changing at Nintendo, and he's been around since the 70s and maybe, not forever. So we're going to be discussing that and kind of waxing poetic about the greatness that he is.
So if you haven't had enough and you want more, you can become a YouTube member and check out that bonus episode. Speaking of, we would like to shout out our YouTube members to thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for keeping us going. Daniel, shout out our YouTube members.
You want me to do all of them? I get all of them?
Do you want to alternate? How are you wanting to do this?
Well, we can alternate. That's fine.
Let's alternate.
All right. So, guys, first YouTube member we want to shout out is Heck Vetica. Heck Vetica is our freaking buddy. Thank you so much.
Yes. Next is Dale himself, Mr. Landon Stallings.
Yes, thank you, Landon. Next up, we have Guy, who's been here since the damn beginning.
Oh, yeah. And then finally, wrapping up is Kitaclysm. Kit's a real good friend of not only the podcast, but hangs out with us a lot on Twitch and the Discord a lot. So
That's right.
Thank you guys for keeping the podcast going and by being members. Now, something that's free for anyone is the 3 for Dale Club.
Yeah, but there's like rules to this crap. You got to watch the whole damn episode. Okay, don't cheat. Do not cheat on the 3 for Dale Club. But in order to join, watch the whole episode and then put us a comment and make sure you drop the phrase 3 for Dale. And we know you made it to the end. Don't lie.
Yep. We look for everyone who says 3 for Dale. It's our secret code phrase. It lets us know that you made it to the end of the episode. And then we put you in a thing. We're going to put up everyone right here. Here's all our 3 for Dale Club members this week.
I wonder if there's any overlap.
There is some overlap. Yes.
I know that, Randy.
There is some overlap.
Thank you for confirming that.
Okay. So, y'all, until next time, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel. Peace out.